And here we go down to Tucson, and it's Brent Brennan. And I've known Brent Brennan for a really long time. And I think as you go through this profession, you get to know a lot of these coaches. I know Jedd Fisch. I've talked about that many times. I got to know Kalen DeBoer, and I've known Brent for almost 20 years. Every sidebar conversation, whenever you talk to Brent Brennan, if you ever brought up, hey, what other job would you want? Or even as assistant, as a head coach, what do you think about? He's not a guy to think too far into the future, but I do know that Arizona impacted him in such a powerful way. What Dick Tomey did to him and his foundation as a young coach to now his foundation as an experienced coach is brilliant. And I believe everyone I've talked to in Tucson, whether it's in the athletic department or fans of the program, you also feel you're in a really healthy place. And again, there will be transition, just like there is at Alabama, just like there is at UW, and there will be again at Arizona. But I love where you sit with Brent Brennan as your head coach. He said something in his press conference that every coach really echoes. He said, quote, "I care about the man first," end quote. And I think when you look at San Jose State and just look at the amount of players that chose not to transfer, right? They didn't lose a lot of players in the transfer portal, and the NIL collective at San Jose State is relatively non-existent compared to Arizona, compared to UW, compared to Alabama. They stayed because of Brent Brennan and how he cared for them. A couple years ago, they had two defensive linemen that were coveted by every school out west, every Power Five school out west for the most part, and they chose to stay. And it wasn't because of an NIL package that the collective at San Jose State put together. It was because of who Brent Brennan is. So, yes, first year, I think for all these new coaches, are going to be interesting. I don't think it's going to be the sustained success. It won't mirror the previous regime, but it shouldn't. And I think as fans, we need to kind of have some solace in that, like take a breath and say, okay, college football is not what it was, even when these respective individuals got the job. Different than when Nick Saban got the job at Alabama. Different than when Kalen DeBoer got the UW job. Different than Jedd Fisch when he got to Arizona, replacing Kevin Sutherland. Dramatically different than when Brent Brennan got to San Jose State. And that's okay, because that's where we sit today. And I really can sit here now as the emotion and dust settles on all of those moves. And I think that UW, specific to the West Coast and Arizona, they're in really healthy positions right now with Jedd Fisch and Brent Brennan leading their respective programs. As always, appreciate the support on this page. We're always trying to post shorts on YouTube or on Instagram or TikTok. Check us out. If you got a good Stanley story, I'm curious. Let me know. Like, how many do you have in your house? I've learned very quickly this is like a thing around the world and around like families, or like some people have double digits at their houses. We won't have that. We got two here, one for her, one for me. Our kids, they're constantly taking them, and that's okay, because that's the world that we're in. So a little bit of fun, a lot of football, and hopefully some good dialogue talking all things West Coast football. As always, thanks for joining. Appreciate the subscribing. Share it, and let me know if you want something a little different. In the meantime, I guess, stay hydrated.